All right, in today's explainer, we're heading straight to the vibrant streets of Tokyo to uncover a pretty incredible local secret. Now, if you think Shimokitazawa is just about vintage clothes, record stores, and indie music, well, you are in for a massive surprise. We're going to walk through the ultimate step-by-step Tokyo visitor's itinerary for experiencing the whimsical, kind of chaotic winter magic of the Shimokitazawa Tengu Festival. I mean, imagine a giant, red-faced folklore guardian marching through narrow streets while crowds throw roasted beans into the winter air. It's fascinating, it is a ton of fun, and by the end of our time today, you're going to know exactly how to conquer this event like a local.
Okay, let's dive into this. First up is meeting the Tengu Festival. Then we'll look at Setsubun and demon banishing. From there, we jump into our 4-step visitor's guide, arriving at the event, picking the perfect spot, catching lucky beans, and finally, where to warm up.
So Section 1, meeting the Tengu Festival. Let's get a really clear picture of what you're actually walking into when you step off that train in Shimokitazawa.
To really wrap your head around this festival, you have to understand the Tengu. In Japanese folklore, this is a super powerful mountain spirit. You'll usually see them in 2 classic forms, the Dai Tengu with a bright red face and a super long nose, which is the one you'll mostly see at this event, and the older Karasu Tengu, which is a bit more crow-like with a beak. They are deeply ambivalent figures, known basically as half trickster, half guardian. In some stories, they punish the arrogant, in others, they protect the innocent, even teaching swordsmanship. And because they're powerful enough to humble proud men and scatter demons, the local merchants in Shimokitazawa actually chose the Tengu as the neighborhood's guardian. It's just such an incredible contrast, right? A modern neighborhood famous for its indie scene, coming together to host this folk ritual that binds the whole community under the protection of this fierce, but honestly kind of endearing spirit.
Moving right along to Section 2, Setsubun and Demon Banishing. Why on earth is a giant Tengu marching through the streets in the dead of winter? Well, it all comes down to a very specific, ancient tradition.
The whole festival is built entirely around Setsubun. In the old Japanese calendar, Setsubun marks the eve of spring, usually falling in early February, right before Rishun, which is the traditional first day of spring. Historically, this boundary between the seasons was seen as a highly vulnerable time. It was believed to be the exact moment when demons, or oni, could easily slip right through into the human world. So naturally, the day became all about clearing them out and inviting good fortune in for the year ahead. The Tengu Festival is basically a massive, neighborhood-wide execution of this clearing out ritual. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how it breaks down these delightfully specific household customs that Setsubun revolves around. While big temples in our Shimokitazawa festivals scale this up to a massive public street event, the core practices are the exact same. Mamemaki is the central custom, literally throwing roasted soybeans to drive the demons out. Then there's fukumame, which is the practice of actually eating those beans, specifically an amount equal to your age, plus 1 extra for the upcoming year's luck. There's also ehomaki, where you silently eat an uncut sushi roll while facing the year's lucky direction. And finally, hiragi iwashi, setting up a holly sprig and a sardine head right at your front door as a sort of demon repellent. So the Tengu Festival is taking these quiet, intimate household rituals and turning them into a vibrant, loud street parade. All right, so you've got the rich history and the folklore down. Now let's talk about you. How do you actually experience this step-by-step as a guest in Tokyo? We've put together a concrete 4-step itinerary for tackling the festival day so you can jump into the fun safely and comfortably.
Step 1. Arriving at the event. Let's make sure you actually get there on the right day and, crucially, with the right gear.
Because this event is tied to the traditional Setsubun calendar. It happens in late January or early February, but the exact date shifts every single year. So you absolutely must check the specific date online before you plan your trip. The festival takes place right on the shopping streets surrounding Shimokitazawa Station, so it's incredibly easy to walk to. It's put on by the local merchants associations for the neighborhood, meaning it's completely free to watch and join in. But please, do not forget, this is a winter street event in Tokyo. You're going to be standing outside for a while, and that winter air can be brutally freezing. Seriously, dress much, much more warmly than you think you need to.
Step 2. Picking the perfect spot. Once you arrive, you're going to quickly notice that these narrow streets get very, very crowded. This brings us to perhaps the most highly requested advice we give: where do you actually stand?
So, the crucial point here is this brilliant piece of insider advice from local culture writer Saori Mizuno. Your instinct is going to be to push your way to the very front of the barricades so you don't miss a thing, right? Don't do it. Mizuno advises standing just 1 step back from the very front.
As the procession moves, the throwers fling those beans pretty far. If you're crammed right up at the front, the beans will literally fly over your head. By standing just behind the initial crush of the crowd, you get a much wider, better view of the giant Tengu, and you are perfectly positioned for an easy catch when the lucky beans start raining down.
Step 3. Catching lucky beans. This is without a doubt the absolute peak of the day, the procession itself and the thrilling moment of the bean throwing.
As the giant Tengu marches past, leading a whole retinue of costumed followers, the air fills with this very specific, lively chant, Oni wa soto, fuku wa uchi. Demons out, fortune in. It's basically a massive public Mamemaki. The organizers and local shop owners are tossing handfuls of roasted soybeans and, hey, occasionally wrapped sweets directly into the crowd. The energy is absolutely electric, and everyone around you will literally be reaching up into the air trying to grab their luck.
And this brilliantly illustrates what makes this event so special. Unlike a staged tourist attraction, this is a moving, living event. The neighborhood itself is the venue. You've got the grand procession with the towering Tengu, followed by the chaotic, joyful public bean throwing, all completely surrounded by local families and onlookers winding the route. It's a true community event that you are openly invited to participate in. Our best advice? Don't just stand in one place the whole time. Follow the procession as it winds through the streets to really soak up the atmosphere.
Which brings us to step 4, where to warm up. You've cheered for the Tengu, you've caught your lucky beans, and now you are inevitably freezing cold. It is time to recover. I absolutely love this advice from food writer Theo Nakagawa. He suggests building your entire afternoon around finding something hot. Now, Shimokitazawa is incredibly famous for its soup curry, this rich, spiced, warming dish that is practically designed for winter weather. Nakagawa perfectly points out that after standing out in the chill for the Setsubun procession, ducking into a small, steamy soup curry counter to thaw out is literally the ultimate way to cap off the experience. It's exactly that beautiful contrast that makes this itinerary so perfect. You start with the chaotic, freezing, lively energy of the street procession, shouting chants and catching beans out of the cold air. And you follow it immediately with the cozy, quiet comfort of a steaming bowl of curry at a local restaurant counter. It completely engages all your senses and gives you both the cultural and the culinary highlights of the neighborhood in one single afternoon.
Let's move to the next slide and see how this builds a larger picture of the area. The Tengu Festival is just the winter entry in a whole calendar of events that the local merchants put on to bind their community together. In September, they host the Moon Art Night, which is an evening art and light festival. In October, there's the famous Curry Festival, a massive neighborhood-wide stamp rally. And then in deep winter, we have the Tengu Festival. It just goes to show that whenever you visit Tokyo, Shimokitazawa is a neighborhood that's constantly looking after itself and celebrating its community spirit.
So as we wrap up this explainer, I really want to leave you with a fun question to ponder for your own trip. Based on that ancient fukumame tradition we talked about earlier, how many roasted soybeans will you personally need to catch at the festival to match your age, plus one extra for good fortune this year? You might want to start practicing your catching skills right now. Thank you so much for joining me to uncover the magic of the Shimokitazawa Tengu Festival. Stay curious, stay warm out there, and we'll see you on the next one.